Special edition episode of Chopping It Up this week. Friend of the show, Steve Rawles. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me back, guys. Good to see you.
Yeah, you as well. So it's been a couple months since we've crossed paths, and I think we've all been up to things, but you guys in particular are putting out some records. I see you guys have a new beer that's out. So
Mm.
how's it been?
It's good. Yeah, it's been busy. Yeah, lots going on. Album got released last week, and at least digitally, and like we were just kind of talking before, they're slowly starting to be, CDs and vinyl are slowly getting out to people that ordered them, and a lot of interviews. And yeah, beer came out from High River Brewing Company, the company that I work for, and um, it's great. Yeah, and coffee too, and with Anarchy Roasters and in Kelowna. So yeah, there's lots of little things coming out, and trying to keep busy with as much as possible.
Is it like trying to release an album in the middle of a pandemic and not really having the live show support and whatnot that you typically get with an album release?
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky. Like, it does feel weird because you kind of want to have album release parties and touring, and like you probably know, we have lots of shows to make up that were canceled from last year, so or postponed. And yeah, it is a bit weird, but it's you try to make the best out of it. Like, thankfully, the record seems to be going over well with our fans, and there's been lots of positive comments about it, and that helps. Like, we're pretty down about not being able to tour right now, and so having that connection with fans and stuff is great. And like I say, people are being really great about, like, lots of kind comments and stuff. So um but yeah, it's a bit weird, and we kind of hope that May, now that we're putting it out, maybe we're only a few months away from maybe doing some stuff here domestically, but I guess we'll have to see, and then see if we can, get back over to Europe for the end of the year, or I guess early 2022.
Last time we talked, I think we went pretty in depth on how the music industry has been impacted by COVID. Obviously, the first thing to stop and the last thing to really get back going.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a bit of a sense of excitement now that there's sort of a light at the end of the tunnel, and it looks like you hopefully can be touring before too long here?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to gauge how bright that light is, but you're seeing stuff in the States get opened up, and I think Canada, we're probably a little ways away from that. Maybe the middle of the fall is we might see some stuff, whether it's distance shows or maybe something a little more higher capacity. But again, it's just kind of like just waiting for things to kind of correct themselves. And but it is exciting to see people get vaccines, and hopefully we can just kind of hold off and here for a little while until things spin around sooner than later.
I know there was a lot of digitization and transformation of companies to kind of the digital platform, but you were probably you already had a pretty decent presence on the digital platform, though your bread and butter was likely shows, and that's where you sell a ton of merch. Did you see a big uptick in? Did it stay fairly flat, or did you see it? The digital side go way up?
We've for quite some time now, as far as like the digital stuff, we have good fans. I mean, I'm not gonna whether it's physical albums or people spinning it on Spotify or whatever, we've had a lot of support, and so I don't take that for granted at all. It's awesome. I don't know if there's been an uptick. It's hard to gauge because it's like a new album and it's all really exciting. It's getting played a lot, which is awesome, maybe more than we thought. So, but it's hard to really gauge whether that's just everybody sitting at home, or whether that's just the natural course of the album coming out. But I think people buying merch and buying out, the pre-sale did really well, and lots of vinyl and CDs coming out, and so our fans are there for us. That's all I really kind of can sort of narrow in on.
Just sort of curious on the album making process. Obviously, during a global pandemic, there's not necessarily a playbook for that. Did you guys gain anything out of that experience that you would leverage going forward when you're making albums? Like, was there some unexpected learnings through this whole thing?
Well, we're thankful that technology has moved to the point where we were able to do some things that we probably wouldn't have been able to do a while ago. But one of the big things is that our bass player Ryan had to do all his bass parts from Toronto through a DI in his apartment, and that wasn't how it was planned. He was supposed to fly out to Calgary, and then another restriction came in a couple of days before, and it was like we didn't know if this was going to be cool, and we were already not going into the studio as a full band. We were going in kind of one at a time, one at a time in the live room while Casey was tracking in the console room. So I don't want to do that again. I hope we don't have to do that again. I mean, you kind of do what you can to make it work, but not being able to jam these songs out more as a band, I don't want to do it like that again. I mean, certainly we know we can do it, and it's nice to know we have that in our back pocket. But I really like being in the band with the guys, and working on things. And there's a lot more sort of synergy going back and forth. Lucky for us, we're really good communicators between the four of us, and so there's a lot of Facebook chats or emails or whatever. There's a lot of critique going back and forth of ideas and arrangements.
I always found that in-person time, and just as a bass player, it was always between me and the drummer, right? There was always the nod, hey, we're about to change. Here's the moment we're going to change this song, or here's a new idea. We're just going to try on the fly and see. That creativity process had to have been a lot more difficult for sure.
Yeah, and we had some time, obviously, and because our tour schedule was on hold, we had time to really go and rehash things out, and there was a lot of taking things, listening, taking it back home, listening, where if we were in a sort of another studio, we couldn't do that as much, but because we have our own studio through Casey's studio, we're able to do that a lot more. So the record did take a while, but nothing got put out that we didn't want it to, nothing came out that we weren't like, this is it. This is 100% behind. We're 100% behind it.
Awesome. So you touched on the some of the peripheral stuff you guys are working on. I noticed you guys got some great merch that's coming out. Some of those T-shirts look awesome.
Yeah.
Getting a good response on that. How can people find that?
Yeah. So we have a couple of new designs. They're with the labels. So Thousand Island Records out of Quebec, and then Lockjaw Records out of London. And so it's nice to have both labels because they sort of take care of. Lockjaw takes care of the European and UK audience, and Thousand Islands sort of takes care of North America and South America, and they handle Japan as well. So it gets a little trickier with some of the different countries, Japan and Australia and stuff. We have different distributors that we work with down there, but those are the two labels that you can get them from.
Awesome. I know with Merit-Based booking, you've got a bunch of bands that you represent and support. Anything exciting coming down the pipe that you wanted to share about that?
No, there's a lot of stuff in park right now, which is too bad. But there's conversations are being had, festivals are being pushed to next summer. Club shows are happening in certain parts of the States and in the UK. Like some distant stuff maybe in July and August, and then October is sort of looks like the UK for UK bands will be okay, and then we're kind of waiting to see if and there's a whole other thing with UK too because of Brexit and everything. So not like you need more complications, but getting some of those European bands over there now is going to be a lot tougher, more expensive, and just a general pain in the ass. So, but yeah, there's some things that are on the horizon. I think sooner than later there. And then, every day I kind of get up, look at counts, look at, where people are. And it's a different ball game in every country for sure.
You think some of the stuff that's been planned in the States, like I know Chicago's got a few pretty big shows that they're hoping to launch, like Riot Days, or I think it's called
Riot Fest.
Riot Fest, yeah. Do you think those are ambitious, or do you think they're going to go ahead?
I feel like festivals of that size know they're going to happen at this point. Like they're not going to just go to this trouble. This isn't like, 500 people in the backyard. This is major stuff. September feels like that's a pretty realistic thing. There is some stuff happening, festivals happening in May, at the end of May. And, I think they'll happen too, just maybe given the state that they're in. There's a little bit of, I don't give a fuck kind of going on down there. And so they'll just go and do it.
Yeah.
Maybe in California, that'll probably take a few more months longer, and other places like that. But, as far as like I saw Riot Fest and I didn't even blink an eye, I think it'll go ahead.
It's a good sign.
Yeah, it is a good sign. I think it's mostly good and maybe a little bad because I don't know if sometimes as a booking agent, I should be all for this, right? But of course, like I want everybody to be safe. Yeah. So I have my reservations just like everybody else, but their vaccination rates are high. in the States, and they have been for a little while. And we've caught up a lot as far as first doses go in Canada. But we'll have to just see how things go down there. It's a tricky, complicated question, and it's not something that I really want to put all my eggs in one basket. I'm of course I'm happy and I'm hopeful.
Yeah, it'll be interesting when all the indoor shows and stuff start opening up too, and what kind of hesitation there might be from people, even those who are vaccinated, just after a couple of years almost being at home.
And again, it's to every state, it's to every country, it's to because if you're in certain places in the South, they barely closed at all. So I mean, there's shows been going on for a while now. So there's probably a bit of a wake after some of that, I'm sure.
I'm excited for live music. Very excited for live music.
Like I say, I had 100 shows booked last year. I am counting on it.
Awesome. Well, Steve, we really appreciate you dropping by. Belvedere, Hindsight is a Sixth Sense, available now. What's your website again? Is it belvedere.com or?
No, it's you might end up at a vodka there if you do that. Where is that? Belvedere, was it Belvedere Band or Belvedere Punk Week? Oh yeah, belvederepunkrock.com is probably the best one to go to. And then it's kind of a landing page and it'll take you to all the websites, labels, our Facebook and other social media. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, really appreciate you dropping by. We're JP and I don't know if you saw the email. We're going to take I don't know if we've made it official, but we're going to take a run at the world record for longest podcast this summer. So we'd love to have you on, maybe play a tune or something for
sure.
Help us get
through.
That
sounds awesome.
Yeah, help keep us awake for a while.
I love a good 24-hour relay. Let's go for it.
Awesome. Well, best of luck with the album launch, and hopefully we can come check out a live show in the not too distant future.
I hope so too. Thanks for having me on again, guys. Cheers.
Thanks, Steve.
Take care.
Bye.